Okay. Give me your name one more time.
Forrest Watkins, Dr. Forrest Watkins.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and this is your time on Survival Radio Network. And I'm Paula G, and I'm here with Dr. Forrest Watkins, band director.
Yes, director of bands at Clark Atlanta University.
Director of bands at Clark Atlanta University, and they're conducting auditions today. And we're going to let him share a little bit about how his day has gone and what the students are doing today.
Okay. Well, thank you. Like I mentioned, I'm Dr. Forrest Watkins, director of bands at Clark Atlanta University. We came out to the Black College Expo to basically recruit students for Clark Atlanta University. We're starting our music education program again. It's going to be reinstated in the fall, so we're looking to really get a lot of students to become music teachers. We've auditioned probably around 15 students right now so far. So we had students coming from around the state, all around different parts of the country. So we've been really happy about auditioning students and exposing them to Clark Atlanta University, to the historically Black colleges and universities in general. It's been a good day.
Okay. So now, what was the prerequisite, or what was the preparation that they had to do in order to be here today to audition?
Okay, we require students to perform 12 major scales, whereas for 4 minor scales, they can be harmonic or melodic, or they could be natural minor scales. We ask them for the chromatic scale, the full range of the instruments. And we also ask for 2 prepared pieces, something lyrical, something technical, and we'll do some sight reading. But sometimes we waive the sight reading based on how they do with their prepared pieces. Some students came in and were really ready to go right away. Some kids came in, they didn't know what we had prepared for them, but they still did a great job.
And tell us, how long have you been doing this? How long have you been?
Okay. Well, I was in the public school system for 21 years. I was in Atlanta. I was in the DeKalb County school systems 15 years. I was in Atlanta public schools for a year, and I was in Gwinnett County public schools for 5 years. And I've been director of bands at Clark Atlanta University since September. I'm the first alumnus to be director of bands at Clark Atlanta University since Dr. Alfred Wright retired in 1993. So 21 years.
So you really have a passion for this. I mean, you have an investment in Clark Atlanta and you know the program.
Yes, I do. I have a passion for it. I have a strong vision for the program and so many things that we want to do for the program. The biggest thing is bringing back the music education degree. So yes, I do have a strong passion for Clark Atlanta University.
So tell us a little bit about your background, you know, coming up, and I know you shared a little bit about, you know, your, schoolwork before college, but just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, myself, I started off actually as a vocalist. I started singing at the age of 9. I was in the Atlanta Boy Choir.
Oh, yes.
I can't sing right now, but I mean, I don't know if I could sing that well back then. Yeah. But then I started playing trumpet at 10 years old, and I eventually learned all the band instruments by 10th grade. By the time I was 13 years old, I knew I wanted to be a music teacher. I knew I wanted to be a band director. So then in the 10th grade, I started playing cello. I learned cello. So by 12th grade, I knew all the band and orchestra instruments. I'm primarily a French horn player. I played French horn since 11 years old. And I went on to Clark Atlanta University, and I played in the jazz band, and I played French horn. So after I finished with Clark Atlanta University, I went on to Georgia State to get a master's in performance, French horn performance. Then I went on and got an educational specialist degree in curriculum and instruction. And eventually I went on and got a doctor of musical arts and music education at Boston University. But all during that time, I guess from 1994 up until now, I was in the public school system. I did high school primarily, but starting off, I did some elementary school work. I've done middle school, high school, now college. So that's me, abbreviated.
Right.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about the importance of music in the schools, and just the importance of music in our lives in general. Okay. Can you share?
Definitely. Well, first of all, music helps in every aspect of academic achievement. Music helps with math. It helps with even physical education. It goes so much. It teaches concentration. It teaches discipline. And it teaches some kind of structure. Even when you look at English and writing, there are forms in music. The concerto form, it goes with how you write an essay. Kids learn to write essays. But also one thing that's really big with music too, there's not a whole lot of research on it. That's more than it used to be. Music is really big with helping self-esteem. Music does so much for self-esteem. So many times you go and find out that when you find that you have your niche or whatever, that's something that you're good in, it helps kids to build self-esteem and build character. And music goes a long, long, long way in everything that we do in life.
And that's so important now because there's so many students. I work as a high school counselor as well, and there's so many students that just don't have that self confidence, don't have that self esteem, and so forth. So that's very very important. What do you see is the biggest challenge today as far as music is concerned? We have a lot of this electronically created music.
Right. Well, I can tell you one of the biggest challenges we have in today's society in education is budget. Many times, music programs, the art programs are some of the first programs to be cut, and then even in times when they're not cut totally, they're altered in some kind of way because we're, I guess, test driven and everything. But music goes along with that, So budget is the big thing. When you mention electronics, the music of today, there's some good music out there, but everything is electronic. So many of the musicians, the acoustic musicians, the guitar players and things like that, the horn section, like from the Earth, Wind, and Fire days,
Right.
you lose all that because everything's electronic.
Right.
So that's a big part of
So
it.
tell me, do you think? Well, how do you think as far as when students are learning music, the traditional music lessons? I don't know that they look like they used to. The thing I always wonder with the electronics, especially when you're talking about ear training, are they really learning what an E flat is if they're hearing it electronically versus on the piano or an actual instrument?
Well, the one thing about actual instruments is still the same as it was 200 years ago. So an E flat is still an E flat. But I guess, well, electronically, it's still the same thing. I guess where it changes at is vocally, because in vocal music, you have auto tune and things like that. So that can change pitches. But then, so the ear training, you still get that ear training because if you're learning violin, for example, I mean, there's nothing electronic you can do to make you learn third position on violin. There are things that you still have. But I think where it affects music mostly nowadays is when you look at vocal music and auto tune and things like that. But see, still, if you're trying to be a music major in college and everything, if you want to be a vocal music major, you still have to learn all those traditional Baroque, the classical music and all those things. So that's still there. You can't really take that away because a piano is still a piano, even though it's electronic. And then nowadays you can play chords on piano without actually playing the chords. But at the base of it, the very fundamental of it is still the same.
I guess I was wondering, I see all these apps, these ear training apps, and I just hesitate sometimes, when students, sometimes I see students that are interested in music, but they're, using these apps. And sometimes I just wonder if they're using an app to train their ear musically. When they actually get to the instrument, do they recognize that as being the same note?
It depends on who started them off from the beginning. The apps are not all bad, though. There are some apps that we use for tuning. I mean, I think in the days when I was coming up or whatever, there were tuners, old Korg tuners and everything. But these apps, they're so much more, I guess, efficient nowadays. And you can always get them on your phone. So that helps a whole lot. You can get an app and put it on an iPhone or whatever, sit on the stand, and you can watch yourself playing if you're out of tune. So I think the tuners, musicians from back in earlier times, before the apps and before the internet, they may have more acute tuning. But that's some apps that really help a lot, though.
Right. Do you find students nowadays that are working with music and learning music? Are they still using things like a pitch pipe? Are they,
Yeah.
still using those kinds of things?
Some instruments you need pitch pipes for, like for example, not as much, but you can still use pitch pipe for guitars and for tuning timpani, big kettle drums. But now with those apps we talked about earlier, you can take that app and tune it yourself. Sometimes with a pitch pipe, you can play a certain pitch, but you need the ear to be able to tell whether it's in tune. But nowadays they have these apps where you play the pitch and you hear it, but you can look at the app and they'll tell you whether it's in tune, whether it's exact or not at 440. But you still have to be able to hear it. But the apps do help a lot now.
So as a little boy growing up, you were interested in all these instruments and so forth. I can imagine you just playing music all the time, and probably mom sometimes was like, "Quiet down up there."
Yeah, sometimes she was. I mean, yeah, I was doing all music all the time, but my mom was real supportive. I was always doing music somewhere. We had a neighborhood band, like a little funk band or whatever like that. So we were always doing something. But I also was an athlete. I wrestled in high school too. So music was always around. No matter what we did, it was always around.
Well, thank you for joining us. Tell us once again who you are and how we can get in contact.
Okay, I'm Dr. Forrest Watkins. I'm director of bands at Clark Atlanta University. You can email me at fwatkins@cau.edu. Mm, that's like,
I got you. Thank you, Dr. Watkins. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we wish you all the success.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, we are here at Cobb Galleria, the Black College Expo. We're going to take a brief break in just a moment. And when we come back, we've got some other folks that we're going to talk to before we wrap up. Again, this is the Survival Radio Network, and the show is Your Time with Paula G and Bruce Allen. Our show airs Wednesday evenings at 8:30, and we're just having a blast today. We're just having a blast. So we will be back in a moment. Thank you so much. All right, thank you. That was great.
That's fine.